by the way, we have a perfectly good Hebrew word for mercy, and this is not it. So if God wanted to say this was the place of mercy, that they were obtaining mercy, then he would have used a different word. He uses the place of covering, because this is the place where they are going to have a propitiation. The high priest would enter in once a year, and he would not enter in without blood for himself, because we'll also see these cherubs had the authority to kill anybody who violated that space. And they would. If that high priest came in a wrong manner, he would die. If he came in and he saw the mercy seat, he would die. Not called it mercy seat out of habit. The place of propitiation. He wasn't permitted to see it. These cherubim in the temple on the earth had the authority over life and death in that regard. Well, the cherubim in the heaven, they have a different ministry that they're working, and they're different cherubim. So like I said, with the propitiatory seat, you have two cherubs facing each other, anticipating propitiation. They are of the same class of cherubim as Lucifer. Lucifer is a one-faced, two-winged being, and he is a cherub. He's not an angel. We actually see him, we can go over to Ezekiel on that one. Over in Ezekiel chapter 28, we see a reference to Lucifer. Ezekiel chapter 28 and verse 13, where it talks about it here, it says, "You were in Eden, the garden of God, and every precious stone was your covering. The sardius, the topaz, the diamond, the beryl, the oxen," as it's giving all of these stones that related to him. And also the fact that it says the workmanship of your trembles and pipes, that it means Satan actually is a musical being, which is unique to spirit beings. He is musical. It's not saying he can sing, because spirit beings can't sing, but he can make music. Well, you see in verse 14, "You were the anointed cherub who covers." He was over the entire universe at this point. That was the position that he actually held when he was there. These are higher ranking cherubim than those that we see in the heavenly temple. And that's what we can gather from that, because Satan and basically that type of a cherub that has a single face and two wings is a very high ranking spirit being. Okay? Because you can see that with Satan. We do not know how many there are of them, by the way. Scripture doesn't describe how many. And we actually don't even know how many of the other types of cherubims. We know there's other types, but we don't know how many there are. I would say that we know there's probably at least three, because you have Lucifer and the two that are actually before the mercy seat here, or the place of propitiation. So they're higher ranking. And like I said, they have the authority over life. And over in Leviticus, you actually see this, Leviticus chapter 16 and verse 13, where it's talking about the mercy seat. "And he shall put the incense on the fire before the Lord, that the cloud of the incense may cover the propitiatory seat. This is the testimony of him, lest he die." Why? Because if the high priest saw that place, if he saw the place of propitiation, he would die. He wasn't permitted to see that. And that didn't matter whether he did anything wrong or not. He was not permitted to see that, because God was doing a work there that he wasn't permitted to actually see. So these cherubim actually have the power to take life. Those in the heavenly temple actually relate to the ministry of the church. And you'll see as they react and do certain things, the elders will also respond. So back over in Revelation chapter 4, verses 9 through 10, we see this. So whenever the living creatures or the living beings give glory and honor and thanks to him who sits on the throne, the one who lives into the ages of the ages, the 24 elders fall down before him who sits on the throne and worship him who lives into the age, and cast their crowns before him. Now, of course, once we get down into this area, we will see this casting of the crowns again relates to our priestly service. And it's likely when we're cycling through to another group of saints who are going to serve in their priestly service in that particular area. We actually see the elders all through the book of Revelation. And the elders are ones who have knowledge that is beyond, as a matter of fact, beyond any other being in the universe, other than God himself, clearly. But they're going to know stuff about, well, the scroll is about to come up, and they know who is worthy to open the scroll, but nobody else knows who is worthy. So they have knowledge that is beyond that of the spirit beings, the other spirit beings. But you'll see that the cherubim that are now, the 4 cherubim that are before the throne in the heavens, their ministry relates to the priesthood of the church. So they are doing a different task. Thus, it is different cherubim that are involved in this task. We also, by the way, back over let's jump over into Hebrews. In the place of propitiation in the Old Testament, you actually had the law underneath there. So this is in Hebrews chapter 9 and verse 4. Let's start in verse 2. For the tabernacle was prepared, the first part, in which was the lampstand, the table, and the showbread, which is called the sanctuary. And behind the second veil, the part of the tabernacle, which is also called the Holy of Holies, which had the golden censer and the ark of the covenant overlaid on all sides of with gold, in which was the golden pot that had the manna, Aaron's rod that was budding, and the tablets of the covenant. So that's in the Old Testament. Well, in the heavenly place, we're going to see that Christ is the place of propitiation. So in the heavenly temple, we don't have these. We have Christ as the the place of propitiation, literally is what it's actually describing here. He is the place of propitiation.